Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
what's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host Dustin, and today we are covering our friends at LSL's brand new release, the Moon City Fuzz. Now for those who don't know, Taylor and Jordan from Moon City Masters are some of the most awesome players out there, and they use some killer fuzz tones. So they asked their friends at LSL to make them a fuzz pedal. And rather than just doing what everybody else does and do a clone of an old like Mark II fuzz or whatever, LSL decided to create an entirely new circuit, and what they've done is absolutely magical. There are all sorts of genres of sounds in this little pedal with just 3 knobs, but I think the best way for us to experiment with this is let's go plug it into the pedal board. We're just gonna grab a Telecaster and see what kind of sounds we can make with this. All right, for today's video, we're gonna be using the Patrick James Eggle Oz here to rock this. I'm gonna use mostly the bridge pickup in this just to give us a little bit more snap and punch and let you hear how that sounds because it works really well with fuzz. And we're just gonna dive in. This is a really short demo, it won't take us a lot of time. The pedal itself is very simple. We've got 3 knobs, a volume, a tone, and a fuzz, and they're all very self-explanatory. But I want you to hear how this reacts, because if you go into a guitar shop and play this, you need to know what's going on in order to really understand how to play it effectively. So let me let you hear the clean tone on my guitar before we dig in here. So this is just clean. Cool. All right, now when we engage the fuzz, first thing you're gonna notice, we don't have the fuzz turned up very much. We have the tone kind of rolled back a little bit, the volume pretty normal, so there wasn't like a massive gain. But watch just when I hit a power chord. Hear that sag there? This is something that this pedal does really well. A lot of the older style fuzzes, like the zonk fuzzes, when you dug into them and when you first would hit them, you would hear like the sound of your guitar kind of suck in on itself and compress and then open up. That's what a good vintage fuzz can do. And that is what this pedal has in space. And look, we're barely even on any of the settings here. So what I thought we would do is let's just take a look at all 3 knobs. We'll start with the volume because this is the simplest. It's literally just the volume on there. So when I turn it up, you're gonna hear it compress a little bit more. We are at full volume, it's really, you can hear the bass. It gets super bassy and starts to clip a little bit. I'm gonna bring it back down. I like it kind of pointing toward the other side of the M. Just a good volume, and especially, you hear it goes well when you're playing normal volume and you kick it in. You're not going over the top with your volume and going into some uncontrollable amount. So I like to stick right around that M. Now your tone is also very simple. Again, just like a normal guitar tone. The more you introduce, the more treble you're gonna introduce. Now notice when I hit those power chords, notice how the sag is a little less when you've got this fully maxed out. Versus the bass gets a little bit more of that. When you got it rolled back here, you can already hear when I started to roll it how that bass kind of thickened up. Now what that immediately tells me is bass players are gonna love this fuzz, and baritone players, that might have to be a separate video in and of itself. Now if we roll the tone back to about here, you'll notice it got a lot quieter. So you can wash out the tone and get into kind of an almost like washed out kind of sound. You're not gonna play with this one. So again, I like to bring this up a little bit. I like to kind of point it toward the F in the fuzz. So you're still getting some of that fuzz and still cutting through the mix though. All right, now let's bring the fuzz up and see what we're getting here. Let's just play some open power chords here. That sizzle right there. Hear that kind of just sizzly fire as it opens up? It sounds like your amp is on fire and just burning. Now, you notice that fire started happening right about there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this right in these settings, and then I am just going to adjust the volume knob on my guitar, and I want you to watch what happens, okay? Let's roll it back. We're going to go back about 50%. Let's keep going back. I have done nothing but rolled the volume back on my guitar. Now I'm going to roll it up a little bit. Roll it up a little more. Roll it up more. Roll it up more. Down again. Listen to how versatile that is. I can go from deep, sludgy, metally tones to clean sounds just with rolling off my volume knob. That's something only the finest vintage fuzzes really have. Put it in the middle position. Listen, I've still got the fuzz on the exact same spot. Bring it up a little bit. There, I'm just digging in a little bit more. All just based on how hard I'm attacking the string. And you can do the same thing on a solo run. Roll up your volume a little. All in how I'm attacking it. Favorite thing is just rolling back the tone a little bit, about 25%, roll your volume back about 25%, and you get this just killer fuzz sound. one last thing that I want to try. We're going to turn on Von Gone reverb and delay, and then I'm going to push my I think I'm going to do a little bit of a clon in front of the LSL. So we'll use the OGOD on there, and we'll kind of get a little cool mid push into there. And I'm going to do it real quiet just to show you how incredibly versatile this is. Again, I'm going to leave my volume and my tone like right in the middle. So I'm going to set them on 5 apiece. And then I'm not going to change the volume settings. I'm not going to touch the pedal. I want you to just hear how this sounds in a basic setting. And remember, I am not a pro guitarist. This will sound way better in a really good guitarist hands. This is just me, your studio guy, showing you some sounds to make. That was just pick attack. That's it. Just me messing around with the pick. Holy crud, LSL. Magic. Absolutely magic. So what'd you think? Crazy, right? Like, you can get some of those classic vintage sounds out of there, but I'm impressed by the doomier, sludgier kind of sounds you can get out of this thing. It can get almost like heavier than a big muff into those kind of crazy, not quite HM2 levels of distortion, but it's definitely a sludgier metal sound in there. Or you can clean it up and just make it sound like a great smooth sounding fuzz. I am so impressed. I don't know what kind of magical germanium they used inside of this thing, but whatever LSL did, wow, 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 guys, you nailed this. This is one of the most versatile fuzzes out there. And for those of you who don't play music like the Moon City Masters, maybe you have a completely different take on it, give this a try. This is not just for that sound. There is a lot of different sounds you can make with this. So don't give this a pass. I think for the money, for what you get, this is truly one of the most versatile fuzzes out there. Well, as always, I want to thank my friends at Palen Music for helping get this in our hands, and my friends at LSL. They were kind enough to send this over so that we could check it out. That was a huge thank you to them. Johnny especially, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for hooking us up over here. So that was a blast to demo this. Had an absolute ton of fun. Can't wait to see what they do next. These guys are just making some absolutely killer pedals. All 5 of them that I've played now, I have just fallen in love with, and I've got all 5 in my pedal cabinet over there and play with them quite a lot. So really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming out this week. And as always, thanks to my friends at Palen. Please go check them out. They're carrying the whole line of LSL pedals. So hit them up if you need to get anything. I'm sure they'll be able to hook you up with any of these fuzzes. I was just down in the Overland Park store today, and I saw that they actually had one of these Moon City Fuzzes out there. So if you're looking for one, go grab it while it's still there. And next week we will have a bunch of new stuff coming, so please, please, please join us back then. There's going to be some really, really wicked stuff over the next few weeks, so can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for coming out this week. Take care and have a wonderful week.